So John, what does International Lithium do?
Well, as the name International Lithium Corporation would suggest, lithium is key to what we do, and other battery metals. Some of those by design, some because those metals come at the same time as a lithium deposit. That lithium divides into two segments. One is brine, i.e. salt lakes, and the other is hard rock, typically pegmatite. So in Argentina, we've got a very strategic property called Mariana, which is brine. And in Canada and in Ireland, we've got hard rock deposits. The most strategic of those for us is Raleigh Lake, which we recently reacquired and bought some extra mineral rights to. And those are the ones that we're going to very practically focus on. We've got some others which are very interesting. I personally became CEO of the company in March this year. I'd been an investor for about 2.5 years, and I joined the board earlier. I'm really excited by it. I've got a quite significant shareholding now. It's a really exciting space to be.
And what's the size of the opportunity in the lithium space?
I think it's a matter of how big is your imagination. I mean, when I looked at lithium the first time, I thought of my mobile phone, and it has a tiny battery which is lithium powered. Then I really saw that the opportunity was electric cars, and it's very obvious that in the next few years, almost everybody is going to be buying either hybrid cars or electric cars. That's a huge, huge market. It's not just electric cars, it's electric buses, it's electric ships, it's everything like that. And beyond that, the opportunity for lithium is not just those vehicles, but it's electric storage. If you're in an African village, you will probably have solar panels. You won't be using the grid. You will have your own electric storage. We will all have electric storage in our homes. So all this needs lithium batteries, and that's a huge opportunity for lithium.
So John, the opportunity in the lithium marketplace is obviously large. Tell us more about how you're working with strategic partners.
Most of our projects start off as being wholly owned because we find them, and we like that. So we get the property, we explore, we prove some of the potential. And an example of that is our Raleigh Lake property, which we've recently expanded, and we've got very high hopes for. When it gets to the stage of needing more scale up for the project, or more financial expertise, or more simply more money or technology backing, it's very helpful to have a bigger partner. So a few years ago, the company found Ganfeng Lithium, which is one of the really major, and since then has become more major Chinese companies in the space, just doing a $1 billion IPO in Hong Kong, so that's quite big. They not only invested in the shares of the company, but they invested in some of the projects, in particular the Argentina property. And so that's an example of a very strong partner that has been able to provide a large amount of the money for the project and some of the technical expertise. We've also in our property in Mavis Lake in Canada partnered with a very nice, capable Australian company called Pioneer Resources. They also have a very small shareholding, but it's not the key issue. The point is they've helped fund some of the development, may fund more, and we think they're a good partner as well. So that's probably our model, and I would probably err towards developing things further ourselves before we partner, but it's very useful and also gives comfort to our investors to know that we're not trying to finance everything ourselves, that we're sharing the risk and keeping a lot of the reward.
The Mariana project in Argentina is a strategic priority for you. What value and opportunity do you see there?
It's indeed a very big opportunity. It's one of the biggest salars or salt lakes in the world, and simply a huge property. So it's about 160 square kilometres. Last year we got a resource estimate which was, at that stage, 1.25 million tonnes of indicated resource, and over 600,000 tonnes of inferred resource. This year we set an exploration budget of $17.9 million. Our share of that is 17.2%, which we've been funding. And it's our current plan that we would carry on funding that, together with maybe an extra 10%, which we've got the right to buy, up to production. Assuming all that goes well, we've got an incredibly valuable resource there, so I'm very excited about it.
John, you've recently announced the transfer of the ownership of the Raleigh project in Canada to ILC. Why are you excited about this development?
I'm very excited about it, and also I'm so excited that we, within 2 weeks of that, managed to buy some adjoining mineral rights, and we've now got almost double the size of plot. This is just under 2,000 hectares of land in Canada. Before we acquired it, it had some historic work done in 2010, some even further before that, which showed quite a large and interesting amount of lithium, tantalum in drilling results. After we acquired it, we had some drone survey done, which looks at the magnetic composition of the area. Now we need to do the same thing for the extra property we've just acquired. But this looks like being really quite a significant deposit. We need to do some more drilling to verify that. But I think that drilling is going to be worth every cent we spend on it.
John, the company obviously has a lot of opportunities in the pipeline. What's next?
Well, I think there are a lot of exciting things ahead. One of the first is that I'm very determined that we're going to keep the company ahead of the funding curve. So it's quite inevitable that any exploration company needs to raise money. We have raised money. We've raised about 3.5 million Canadian dollars this year. We will be raising more. And happiness is when you've raised money ahead of when you need it, and misery is when you don't raise it fast enough. So I'm quite determined that we're going to raise it fast enough and ahead of where we need to be. So that enables everything else, and therefore I think is a really critical part of what we do. And it's one of the things I've been determined to do since I took on the job. So in terms of what that money will be used for, we've got a PEA coming out for Mariana. We're not sure of the exact timing, but we expect by the end of the year. And that will hopefully give us a pointer for what we can do in the next year to carry on exploring and give us some sort of timescale to production. And equally, we're definitely going to be spending time on the Raleigh property and doing some more surveying and doing some drilling. Those are very exciting things to be doing. We're clearly going to look at our operating model. It's great to have strong partners. It's also great to do properties on one's own when neither model is probably the optimal one used entirely by itself. And it's something which any successful company reviews on an ongoing basis.
So John, final question, important question for many. How are you going to create value for shareholders?
Well, it's a subject very dear to my heart because I've become just about 20% shareholder in the company. So I want to create value for everybody at the same time, and that will be good. It's very important, I think, for a company of this size to have a strong shareholder base. We certainly want to develop the institutional shareholder base, and as we get bigger and bigger, that will clearly be an important thing. If somebody can put in $1 million this year, you want to make sure they can put in $3 million in 2 years' time, rather than just that's the total of their possible investment. I do feel we start with a share price that is not fully valued at all. The potential value of the assets is very much higher than the current market cap. Clearly, that applies to a lot of mining companies, and some do get there and realise that value, and some don't. I'm determined that we're going to be one of the ones that does realise that value. I think we've got a fantastic story in our mining portfolio. So that's really important. And we're clearly in the right sector. The whole battery metals market is bubbling. The electrical vehicles market has so much regulatory push, as well as frankly being economic now. So I think we're all going to own electric cars in 10 years' time, if not sooner. And the market is helping us there. And so that's something I can't influence very much myself. But on the other hand, it's a good tailwind to have. And we will be adjusting our property portfolio more over time, just like we have this year. We completed one milestone with Mavis Lake. We got back the Raleigh Lake property. We've disposed of another property which was more strategic to somebody else than it was to us. And we continue our good work in Mariana. We'll influence how that project's managed. Hopefully raise enough money to up our stake from 17 to 27%, not this coming year, but probably in the next 18 months. And I think all those things will contribute to a company which is not much followed by research analysts to one that is and becomes popular with institutions. And that's the dynamic of a successful company, to have strong shareholders and strong projects.